One of the most obvious differences between live recording and studio recording, whether analog or digital, is the amount of environmental noise that will be present behind the musical performance. This external sound is largely eliminated by the studio environment, but is a key component of so-called live recordings, where audience noise and clapping are often recorded separately for adding to the performance in the mix. The issue of leakage means many such recordings may have studio overdubbed vocals to make them stand out more within the recorded track. Sometimes in live there may be acoustic effects that are not obviously perceptible without a smart analysis, as sound reflections and refractions can interact across the audience area, causing phase cancellation in certain places of the room and at certain frequencies. Compression/limiters were created for radio to limit the dynamic range of an audio signal to prevent overmodulation of the radio wave, causing the signal to fail when the sound became too loud. It soon became a standard tool in all recording studios, as it made music sound louder and more punchy, and made audio high in dynamic range easily reproduced on everybody's sound system. Engineers could record stronger signals, protect audio equipment from clipping, and end up with more powerful recording that translated better across different sound systems. This sound became associated with the radio and therefore the most popular form of musical distribution throughout the 20th century. You can see the EQ working at the top, below that the Yamaha, the reverb unit, below that the gate, below that the compressor on channel 2, and finally at the bottom the graphic equalizer. Bring that down, you won't get anything. Bring those up. One. That's your reverb. Stop using the phone now. Compression was key to the loudness wars of the 1990s. It was a competition to make every release louder than the last, but led to monotonous dynamics and constant high sound pressure levels. However, in 2013, at the AES convention, mastering engineer Bob Katz declared the loudness wars over because Apple's iTunes radio is regulated to -16 LUFS. Modern streaming services such as Spotify also have fixed maximum levels which will automatically turn down music which is mastered beyond that. In live, the warmth of analog the studio engineers appreciate matters very little now that digital has come so far. In the live world, reliability and portability are all important, and time is at a premium. In analog, all connections in every channel must be physically made, and these physical connections are cumbersome and heavy. If a channel loses audio, the fault must be physically tracked down and repaired. Dante and other Ethernet options offer complete instantaneous redundancy, and 64 channels of 24-bit 96 kHz can be transmitted down a single cable. This is why analog is now redundant in live music. The performance room in Eastlake 1, the live room, has hardwood floors, a sloping double window, treated walls and ceiling in an effort to provide as reverberant a space as possible without unfortunate acoustic effects such as flutter echo, an effect which takes place when sound reverberates between parallel walls. To quote Huber in his Modern Recording Techniques, natural acoustic reverberation is an extremely important tool for the enhancement of music and sound production. A properly designed acoustical environment can add a sense of space and natural depth to a recorded sound that'll often affect the performance as well as its overall sonic character. Reverb being the randomly decaying set of sounds heard after the source stops. Different sound envelopes cause sound to decay differently. Historically, the only way to create reverb was by finding the right space or by placing microphones and loudspeakers in a reflected room, such as a tiled basement. Studios' reputations, as Paul White points out in a March 2006 Sound on Sound article, could be made by the right room. Rockfield Studio in Wales even had a room made with suspended glass plates to create a variable reverberant environment. Early reverb devices were the spring, often still found within Fender guitar amps, and the plate. Digital reverb became a commercial reality with the EMT 250 in 1976, heard on records such as Prince and the Revolution's Purple Rain. With ever-increasing computer power, accurate digital versions of analog equipment became increasingly possible. The Universal Audio Plate 140 plug-in is one. The major advantages over the analog version are the competitive cost, space, and that there is no need for skilled maintenance or the need to source increasingly hard to find parts for historic equipment. What these digital plugins replicate are the distinctive distortions of sound caused by the mechanical components and processes of famous analog equipment. But today there are digital processes such as the version of auto-tune used on Cher's Believe, which may become an historic algorithm in its own right. Magnetic tape consists of a thin layer of mylar or similar material coated with iron oxide. The tape machine head exerts a charge on the oxide which polarizes the oxide particles to capture the signal. Around 1995, cheap digital multitrack recorders became available, which recorded sound to a computer hard drive, a digital tape format such as ADAT, or even minidiscs. The most commonly cited characteristic of analog recording, and the reason it still exists, is its perceived warmth, a side effect of the process which softens the attack of musical notes and thickens up the low frequency range. Saturation occurs when an input signal is so large that an amp's supply voltage isn't large enough to produce the required output current. The resulting distortion, known as soft clipping, caused by driving the preamp, has been used creatively to provide a satisfying fuzzy overloaded signal which displays natural compression and limiting characteristics. It is an especially useful technique for drums. Digital is prone to hard clipping, which does not sound as pleasant to the ear. Before a tape machine can be used, tones of 1K and 10K are used to align the VU meters to 0. The tape machine then needs to undergo azimuth calibration, whereby a tone is put through 2 channels and calibrated to make the sum of those channels as strong as possible. Its primary importance is for recordings being transferred between different tape machines. If this is not done, the result is a duller recording.